right, welcome back, Recliner Sports Reporters, to Keep the Change podcast. I'm Mac, and with me, as always, is Robbie. Robbie, how's it? I know it's been a sad week for the Browns, buddy. Mental health check? How are you, my friend?
Today's been a roller coaster. Did not have any inkling, any thought. Never in a million years did I think that Watson's season was going to be ended today. After we just had our biggest regular season win since coming back in '99. Watson's finally starting to, in his last 3 games, he's healthy, that he's finally looking like Houston Texans Watson. I'm finally starting to, let myself just get excited, thinking, man, we got a quarterback finally. I was sitting in a morning meeting today at work and got the notification on my phone, just threw my phone down. I was like, you gotta be effing kidding me. F this. Right in the middle of my manager talking. His eyes got all big, and I'm like, oh no, Deshaun Watson's season's over. He's having season-ending surgery. But it's definitely been a roller coaster. A lot of lows. Whatever, bro. Next man up. Football's a tough sport. You're gonna have injuries. That's why there's 53 guys on the roster. And at this point, sounds like we're starting the rookie again, DTR. I'm excited to see what he can do with at least a couple of days of working with the first team and having an offensive game plan that's structured around him. Actually got a couple legs in my parlay that are strictly on him. I got a good feeling now. I'm back up. We're going back up that roller coaster, and I'm back in again. So we're going back to the Super Bowl. Watson, DTR, Tom Brady, whoever's playing quarterback for us.
Possibly Mac Jones. Now, there was a good take here from Gronkowski, and I actually, so not just the Browns thing, but I liked Gronkowski's take here. Is he said if he were Mac Jones right now and he was benched, he would go and ask for his release. And I like that that's coming from Gronk. Like, Gronk's going to keep it real because Gronk played for Bill Belichick. Gronk, you watch Tom Brady's kind of man in the arena in that Gronk episode. Like, Gronk kept it real with Belichick kind of the whole time. And even he had to walk away. And for him to give Mac Jones that advice, but then when he said he should go to the Browns, I was like, I wasn't even thinking of that. Would Mac Jones fit in well with the Browns? Is that someone who could help the Browns out right now?
Man, I don't know. We need a quarterback that doesn't make turnovers. One of my favorite options out there right now. Maybe it's just because I still have his jersey hanging up in my closet. I wouldn't mind bringing Colt McCoy back to Cleveland. He's going to manage the game. He's not going to turn the ball over. And we have a defense and a run game that can win with that. The 0-2 Ravens had Trent Dilfer at quarterback. I don't know if everybody remembers that. He ain't slanging the ball. He's no gunslinger. He's not a stud.
They
He just
did
didn't turn
have.
the ball over. He
They
did
did.
made the right plays.
They really did. And I did. I just got done watching that Bullies of Baltimore on ESPN. And yeah, that was a pure defensive team, which right now, as we've said week after week, the Browns that is the Browns. You guys have a great defense. And I think we said that last week when, the spread was what it was. We said we were very clear, like, this is an AFC North game. So 7 points is not the line. You got to take the other side. And not only did the Browns cover, but they ended up pulling out the victory after a really terrible kind of first half of football. But
I kick myself because I threw $25 on us to cover the spread once we got down 14-0. I got up to 17.5.
Oh, you could
I
have
used
hit
a
that money.
50%.
Yeah.
I took a 50% boost on it. So I think it got up to just over plus money. It was like plus 136, 140, somewhere in that range.
But you could have got the money line at like plus plus 500 or plus 1,000 at that point.
It was several thousand at that point.
Yeah, that would
I
have
think it
been.
was like plus 2,000, plus 2,500.
That's one of those
That's
ones where
why
you
I
just,
said, man, if I would have just threw 20 at that too, just for shits and giggles.
yeah, you just sprinkle a little bit on that. Why not? At that point, you already like you're like, all right, if you lose, you're already upset. Like you're whatever, you're out $20. But if you win, oh my God, it makes the win even better. All right, well, let's get into our game. So we got a couple games for you that we are going to break down tonight. The first of which is going to be our Thursday night game, going to be Bengals versus the Ravens. Then we have, keeping it in the AFC North, we have another crazy matchup between the Steelers and Browns, especially with what just happened with the Browns. And then we're going to move down and we're going to hit the Jets and the Bills, a little rematch from week one. And we're going to finish it off with the Vikings and the Broncos, who, again, the Vikings kind of keep showing up. I know we're skipping over the Texans this week, but mostly just because I don't really care for that matchup right now with the Cardinals. They should wipe the floor with them. Vikings and Broncos. Vikings keep kind of popping off too, and I'm really interested to see what Dobbs can do. And the Broncos somehow are on this kind of, Sean Payton is really starting to work out, taking down two kind of AFC juggernauts here in the last 2 weeks. So let's get things started with the Bengals Ravens. This is going to be an absolute war. This is the second meeting for the two teams now. The Ravens have a chance to steal two from the Bengals. The Bengals really are going into this. This is a must win for them to try to even it. And it's going to be even harder with it going into Baltimore, which is always a tough place to play. And the Ravens are going to be rocking their all black, blackout jerseys, which look super sick. Robbie, go ahead. Tell me, how do you see this one going? What are your best bets for this one, Bengals versus Ravens?
And I'm not sure how this game is going to go outcome wise, but we got one bet that always, every single week. What's Burrow's completions?
23 and a half, baby. It's going to hit.
Got to put it in.
Just free cheddar.
Yep. Just add that. That's the automatic first leg at every Bengals parlay. Outside of that, though, all three of my other legs revolve around the Ravens. And this kid last week, man, he impressed me. He is fast, like lightning in a bottle fast. Keaton Mitchell, over 36 and a half rushing yards and over 8.5 receiving yards. Those are his two lines right now. I think those are both pretty easy hits. And another one, I think Lamar throws another pick this week. So those are the four that I got going. And I'm thinking that the Bengals find a way to pull this out. I think that Ravens team's starting to self implode. Lamar Jackson starting to get a little nervous. Seems like when the moment gets bright, a lot of times he starts to shy away. So I'm going with the Bengals on the money line as well as those four bets.
I'm just looking up something right now. Plus 20. I love those bets. 51. 45 and a half. I was just looking at that over under 45 and a half. It seemed high, but weirdly enough, a lot of the games have been sitting around. Like that's like if you look at their like last 6 games over the last, or no, 7, because they played 3 times last year, it's been
Mm-hmm.
sitting like right at 45. So that's actually one of those, like, the bookies are just pretty much going with the median right now.
Mark, yeah.
Yeah, I would kind of stay away from that line because this game could either be like a 24-27 game, or this could be like a 17-20 game,
Yep.
or this could be like a 24-10. You know what I'm saying? Like, or it could be 35-36. And
Yeah.
you're
Come
like, what?
Friday, you could tell me that this game was a blowout either way. I'd believe it. Wouldn't surprise me. You could tell me it was a sub 20 total point game that was won by a last second field goal. I'd believe it.
Right.
You could tell me that both teams scored 40 plus points and it was an absolute thriller shootout. I'd believe it. Both these teams have had such highs and lows this season. It's just a matter of which team comes out to play.
Yeah. And my thing is too is both these defenses have played so well in spurts. It's like, I don't know what defenses are going to show up. I will tell you this though. I'm going to piggyback on you what defense will show up. And again, this is just trending. I mean, they've gone, I swear to God, it feels like every week this year they've had an interception. The Bengals defense is ball hawks right now.
Just
And
finding a way.
I'll do you another one. CTB, Cam Taylor Britt will have an interception. That's the line right there. That go not just will have one, but Cam Taylor Britt. That dude has been absolutely just late in the game. Need things to change. You need the ball. Don't worry, Joe. I got you. This dude's just coming up with these last minute game kind of rising, changing momentum picks. It's week after week after week. I think he's going on as like at least third game in a row. So let's make it a fourth. Got to take Joe Burrow's completions. All right. Jamar was a little banged up last week. His receptions didn't hit. All right. So I will see where the line settles. But with T. Higgins being out, the Bengals went to Boyd. So I'm going to do Boyd's receptions this week. I think they're going to feed Boyd. Here's what Joe's going to do. And Joe did this to T after T's first game where he had that a bunch of actually against the Ravens, he had a bunch of drop balls. Bunch. Did not look like the T. Higgins we know. Then T was out a couple of weeks with an injury, came back. Joe even told him before the game, I'm feeding you the rock. If I know the Bengals, I'm thinking Joe's saying to T or to Tyler right now, because he's getting, he dropped the game winning touchdown, the go ahead touchdown last week. He had a pretty good performance. I think Joe's telling him, we're going to get that out of your mind right now. And I'm just going to feed you the rock
Early and
early and often. Another one, somehow, I don't know, this guy, I'm feeling an anytime touchdown right now from this kid. Hasn't had 5 receptions in his career, goes and has 5 receptions on the first drive of the Bengals game. And I'm thinking to myself, who the heck is this kid? Hudson, tight end Hudson. He is going to get over on his receptions, and I'm liking for an anytime touchdown for him. And you're going to get that at crazy good odds.
Big money right there.
I mean, it was unreal. I was like, who the heck is this guy?
Keep throwing it to him. That's the
I'm,
thing. The Ravens too. They like to force the ball in front of them. They like to
yeah,
push you into that dink and dunk offense,
yeah.
which I feel like is going to be good. It's going to be big for the tight ends, and I feel like it's going to be big for Jamar too. On these
And
short slants, little quick outs, Jamar's going to get a lot of quick hitters.
yeah, and you're exactly right. And that the Ravens defense does a good job with that. The Bengals offense just happens to be that's kind of their bread and butter is those, 3 to 6 yard catches and let their athletes go get yards after the catch. Joe puts them in some pretty good spots sometimes so that they're leading away from defenders so they can take a 3-yard completion and turn it into 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes even 12 yards. On the Ravens side, I'm liking Lamar's over on rushing. I think they're going to get after him, and I think Lamar is going to use his legs a lot here. He's always been good at it, but I think the Bengals, the one problem that the Bengals have had this year against teams, especially like what Josh Allen did with him on the Bills game, I think the most productive part of that whole game was Josh Allen's legs. We had a hard time containing him. We had a hard time containing Lamar in the beginning of the year. I think Lamar goes over on his rushing yards this week. And I think he goes under on his passing yards. So a little over-under matchup on that one. The way that they ran the ball against us last time, I'm also thinking that Lamar's not going to hit his over on passing touchdowns. And I think they will rely heavy on that run game, especially looking at what the Texans just did with Singletary. So I think the running backs for Baltimore, I love your pick. I think the over on those rushing yards are going to be good, and I think we're looking for one of the running backs to get in the end zone. I don't know who, but take your pick, and I think they get in there. In terms of the spread, okay, we said the rule last week was if it's wider than 3, take the other team's points. This week it's at 3.5. So following the rule, I have to take the Bengals at the plus 3.5. Again, looking at
I
the
like that.
scores, looking at the scores of the last kind of games with these guys, how many times have we watched I mean, I know how many times I've watched Justin Tucker walk it off to win by 3 or win by 2. Who
Too many.
says, yeah, so even think, I hope the Bengals win. I could also see us blowing this game, but I think they cover 3.
I like it.
All right, moving on, keeping it in the AFC North. God, they went straight rivalries this week for the NFL lineup. Steelers
Like
Browns. This,
football.
and I love that this is a pick 'em right now. I think if Deshaun's in this game, I think this trends a little bit more towards the Browns.
Before Deshaun went out, they had us at -4
Yeah.
favorites. Yeah.
So I'm guessing the only reason right now is that this thing's a pick 'em is because you guys have a backup quarterback in. But we're talking about two studly defenses. I love it. I was just seeing what the over under is 32 and a half. That's like
Yeah. That's
that's
AFC
close.
North.
Yeah, but
AFC North
like
football, baby.
that's a low line. Like that's low. All right,
I still
talk to
don't
me,
know if
baby.
that
Yeah, right. You
like
still
it.
don't know, but that is low. All right, buddy. But tell me, what are you feeling for this one? What are your best bets for this one? How are you seeing this one play out?
I love DTR to get an anytime touchdown. The way that the Browns win this game is I saw somebody tweeted it out. DTR needs to stand for don't throw, run. We need to run the ball, whether it be with DTR at quarterback or giving the ball to Kareem Hunt, Jerome Ford, getting the running backs involved early and often, establishing the run game. Also, like DTR's over on his rushing yards. It's only set at 18 and a half. He's an athletic kid. I think he gets that easily. I think he covers that in the first half. Another one that I like, Miles Garrett right now, they have his line at 3/4 of a sack. I think he's going to end up with another multi-sack game. And the last one I like is I like us at -1. I think we win this game, regardless of who's at quarterback. I feel like our defense is going to smother the Steelers' offense, not give them any room to breathe the whole day. So as long as our offense doesn't lose the game for us, I feel confident the Browns can pull this out in a 13-3 victory.
I love that. Um, I'm loving uh your overs there, and I really do like. I'm liking 2 on your running backs. I could see Ford or Hunt getting in the end zone. I think a crazy parlay would just be like Ford and Hunt both score. I love that. That's going to give you crazy odds. In terms of the Steelers side, I'm going with. I'll tell you this one. I'm really going with. I'm going under on Pickens receptions and Pickens yards. Something's going on right now, and the dude's kind of having a meltdown. Really, I already know he's
Yeah.
already menaced, but I think the secondary for the Browns are going to get him super flustered. I bet if he gets his over on receptions, it's going to be one catch, or over on yards, it's just going to be off one catch. And it's just going to be like a bomb, like 80-yard touchdown. But that I like the odds on the other side, which are that he's going to go under on his receiving and he's going to go under on his receptions. Pickett just hasn't been feeding the ball. I don't know why. I know they're like in what's the other guy's name? Johnson.
Deontay.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've been feeding him a lot more. But there was that pick where he caught the touchdown and Pickens is just already turned away, walking to the bench, not even celebrating. And then he's just like on the bench like this. It's like, and then apparently Pickens has removed all Steeler stuff from all his social media, blocked them, all that stuff. So something's going on in the Steel City. So I'm putting my money on the unders for him.
I love
Um,
that.
I'm also going to take the under on rushing for Najee. I think the Browns have a great defense, and we're going to keep the theme rolling here. Well, the only over I am taking is, what is it? What are we taking?
Over 25 receiving yards from
Oh,
David Njoku.
over 25. You heard it here again. Over 25 for the Chief and over 23.5 for Joe Burrow. Keep the change. That's our weekly nuke it player prop bet. But besides that, I'm going to keep in line with the unders here. And I'm going to take the under 32.5 right now. Now, here's why. I honestly don't know how this game's going to go. It's just like the Ravens Bengals. We could see this as like I could see Cleveland blowing them out. I could see the Steelers winning by 3. I could see it being a 3-6 game. I
Yeah.
I don't know. So with that, I'm gonna put my money on the under because I have a more of a gut feeling that I don't know who's gonna win, but it ain't gonna be pretty and it's gonna be low scoring.
And I don't think that there's supposed to be any type of precipitation at all. But I almost just want this to be like a shitty day. I want it to be 35 degrees, sleeting with 20-mile-an-hour winds. If that's the case, you can put rent on the Browns to win. The Browns will find a way to win that game that day. Our defense will do everything they need to.
The Browns are dangerous in their stadium in bad weather. That's a given.
Got to keep old
Um,
small hands from holding on to the ball for too long. Miles Garrett's going to end up. I'm feeling another one. Feeling a Miles Garrett strip sack.
for a touchdown.
Kenny
Defensive
Pickett's got those little hands, and Miles Garrett's a big, strong man.
defensive touchdown for the Browns. Or will there be a defensive touchdown score in the game? I could see the Steelers scoring one.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
yeah.
we're talking about this is going to be pure. If you're a defensive fan,
This is a good game to watch.
I have a really good feeling you're going to like it. I could be wrong because it is the AFC North, but I have a really good feeling it's going to be a good defensive matchup. All right. Speaking of great matchups, we have this shouldn't be a great matchup. I just I should start. This should we shouldn't even be talking about this game as being something that's like something we want to watch. And the fact that it's at 425, you're almost kind of forced to watch it. Because I'm trying. Let me look at the other games that are going off at 4 now. You got the Bucks, 49ers. I think that's going to be a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks and Rams. So you're really only. I mean, you're kind of thinking, well, Bills just lost to the Broncos.
Can the Jets do it?
Jets beat them already without Aaron. So it's not even like, oh, well, the already did it. Bills fired their OC. What's that going to be like? And I can tell you, as someone who took over as OC halfway through a season, I can tell you right now, there's a lot of like, yeah, you might think that there's just some like continuity that goes to it, but like when it's your job now, there's a little bit of like a learning curve that naturally just happens. Going against a division rival, that's I don't know if that was the best time. So you got all those elements in there. Now you have an interesting storyline, interesting football game. Buffalo's opening up as a 7-point favorite. It is in Buffalo. The over-under is set at 39.5, which is crazy because the Bills should be scoring 40 every game.
Yeah, by themselves.
Talk to me, Robbie. How do you think this one plays out?
The more I sat and thought about this, I think it turns out pretty similar to that early season matchup. I got the Jets on the money line. I think they're going to cover the spread. I mean, that +7's easy. I think the Jets come away with the win. Also, I like Garrett or Zach Wilson's over on passing touchdowns. It's only set at a half. I think he's going to get one to Garrett
It's
Wilson.
only set at a half right now.
Yep. So I think he throws one. I feel like it's going to Garrett Wilson. He didn't do great for me last week. He let me down on one of my parlays. But I still think Breece Hall hits his over on rushing yards at 56.5. And the only lone Bills bet that I have, I've been big on Dalton Kincaid all year. I see him getting in the end zone.
I love that one. I love a Kincaid anytime touchdown. He's really been the only kind of like shiny moment for the Buffalo Bills right now.
No.
Stephon Diggs has been having a solid season, but not as big as what we've seen in the past. Gabe Davis went on a little hot streak, but now he's kind of been trending down with, again, I think this has a lot to do with the play and clearly the play calling of the Buffalo Bills.
Hmm.
Um, but I think the one I really like that you said, and let's lock this in right now, folks. JETS, Jets money line. Lock it in. The Bills are frauds. Let's go, Jets. We're taking it. We're taking it. We're taking it. Put it on. That's my pick of the week. Keep the change. I also agree with you on the Brees Hall, and we're going to talk about another running back in the next game. But I think in terms of like production, yeah, his touchdowns aren't showing up, but his yards have been pretty consistent.
Hmm.
I think another line to take here is his carries, taking his over on carries. Match that with his yards. Now you got yourself that's something that's a little tasty right there. Sprinkle a little bit on that. Um, Zach Wilson's only at a half. He's only just got to throw a touchdown. Here's
I
what
feel like almost any NFL quarterback, you should take that bet every time when the line's that low.
he is got 5 touchdowns on 6 interceptions. So he's got to throw one to at least even out. So let's go. Zach Wilson, we'll throw that in there. And
Maybe we should take him for a touchdown and an interception.
he could happen too. But I will tell you the guy I definitely taking for an interception, Josh Allen.
Mr.
Uh,
Turnover himself.
and not even just that he's been throwing turnovers.
Jets
He's got
defense.
11. Jets defense has been taking the ball away a lot this season. And that's really what's been keeping them around and relevant right now. I mean, we're looking at a 4-5 Jets team right now that after Aaron Rodgers got hurt, I could have seen this team as being 0-9 right now. And the
Yeah,
only reason that they are in the position they're in, clearly looking at these offensive stats, is
that
their
deep.
defensive play. So I'm taking Josh Allen to throw a pick. Uh, and I think you're right. I think this thing plays out the way it did last time, and the 39.5, taking the under on that too. And this is weird for me this year. Usually I would never take unders. Never. Life's too short to take unders.
Yeah,
But
it's not nearly as exciting to cheer against everybody.
after a year of learning and honestly just watching these teams all year, I'm liking the under 39.5 here, right? But I think of all of the bets and lines we just given you, I think the best one, the one that you really, if you take away everything, if you're looking for one, Jets money line, take it, keep the change. All right, our last game of the evening, just like CJ Stroud, he
My boy.
keeps coming back into conversations, and this team has been kind of our week after week team, in addition to the Texans. The Vikings have been
Ah,
resurrected by the Pasternaut Viking. And this game 3 weeks ago, I would say with Kirk Cousins, I'd say we'd be talking about, oh my God, the Broncos are about to get ran out the stadium. But now the Broncos are starting to find their footing. Sean Payton, I don't know if he's putting hit calls on players again. I don't know if cash is going on the table. I don't know if he's saying like we need to go back to
works.
The old Saints days. But he's doing something. There's a little bit of something in the water. He's putting a little bit of something in the Gatorade. Maybe Russell Wilson is letting people use some of his bathrooms in his home. Maybe there's something going on that we're not seeing because he's keeping the press at bay. But we now have a Sunday night primetime matchup, which we should be getting primetime Kirk, but forget about it. We're getting primetime Josh Dobbs versus somehow he keeps ending up in primetime Russell Wilson.
Ah,
Talk to me. How do you think this one's going to go? What are your best bets?
I'm riding with Dobbs, baby. He hit my parlay for me. I did a Josh Dobbs only parlay last week. He hit that shit in the first half. I'm riding with him again. 200 passing yards. Dobbs anytime touchdown. Dobbs a passing touchdown. and Dobbs for 25 rushing yards. Other one I like in that, I like TJ Hawkinson for over 50 yards. I feel like that's a really safe bet to add on to any parlay. And I think they're going to win straight up. Forget the points. I got Josh Dobbs and the Vikings winning this game.
I agree with you on this. I think the Vikings both teams right now are on a hot streak. So someone's got to lose. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to take the one who I think has been kind of doing it in a better fashion. Russ has been doing it in some. I mean, technically, the Broncos should have lost last week,
Yeah.
right? Like, I love the whole storyline with DeMar Hamlin. It just sucks that he was the guy that was the 12th man on the field. That one's got to hurt you. But that should have been game over. Bills win. So
And as a former special teams coach, I got to ask, how the hell did 12 guys run out on the field at that point?
so that's
How
yes.
do you
So
not
you
know
have
if
to
you're on
know
that coverage?
the guy on the field has. So you know your units, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have your units and you know how many are running on and how many are running off because it's too hard to count who's on the field because they're all get bundled up. So what you have to be counting is how many are coming on and how many are coming off, and then you subtract that from 11, right? So it's like two, okay, two on. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to look at the sideline exchanges because it becomes too impossible once they get clustered because and especially when you're up top, you're like a mile away. Everything looks the same. So someone dropped the ball on who came off and who came on, and there was that miscommunication. So what I'm
It
guessing
looked
happened is
like to me they sent the whole defense that was out there came running off the field.
so
They took
that's
all 11 guys off. And that made no sense to me at all. I'm not a coach. I didn't play football at a high level at all. But you know, in that moment, that the Broncos are not going to run a play. All they're going to do is kneel the ball and get it to whatever hash their kicker wanted. Why do you not already have your kick block unit out there on that third down play instead of rushing back and forth, taking 11 guys off the field, sending a 12 out there? That
yeah.
just seems like poor execution, poor coaching.
Yeah, there's got to be the other like that's like you just mentioned is if you have a lot of guys on that unit, they should be right next to the guy, and it should be like okay, and lightning, and we're going off. But here's my other thing: in that situation, I think you leave the defense on the field. You're
Yeah,
telling me
what does
right
it hurt?
now, you know what I'm saying? You're telling me right now that those guys don't know how to make a rush and block a kick, and why haven't you trained that? Right? Like
Yeah,
us, when I'm training it, the defense, our first string defense gets that same rep as our field goal block unit. Why? Because sometimes you don't know if they're going to fake it, right? So sometimes you just leave a defense out there and they make it,
yeah,
but if your defense is trained just like your field goal block unit, it makes it a lot easier. So I would have just left the defense out there and just played the snap as is. There's no penalty. You have no risk of penalty. You're just playing it straight. You're playing it straight up at that point.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't maybe the Bills OC shouldn't have been fired unless Ken Dorsey was also special teams. Then this all makes sense.
yeah.
Um, but I agree with you. I think if you're looking at the teams that are hot right now, the Vikings are very hot, um, and I think they're winning in a more confident fashion than what the Broncos are. So I'm agreeing with you. I'm taking the Vikings here. I love the Dobbs anytime touchdown. I love Madison right now. I think the run game for the Vikings have been great. I love
He's out.
Hawkins. Madison's out this week.
I think so. I'm pretty sure I saw that when I was changing my fantasy lineup that he was rolled out for this week
Questionable.
or doubtful. All right, it was
Questionable.
question.
He's just moved up to questionable. That's
Who's the backup now with Akers being out, and I don't even know who their third string running back is in Minnesota off the top of my head.
well, that's what the Google for. Their third string running back would be Ty Chandler, which he's been playing actually pretty good too.
Yeah, he's put up some stats in his opportunities.
I do like that. Jordan Addison is down there. He's listed as a wide receiver, but he's uh leading the team in yards. Actually, you know who the third highest rusher is for the Vikings right now?
Based on how long of a timeline? like for the
See,
full season.
full season,
And Dobbs isn't that high yet, is he?
third.
No shit. Through two
Third.
games, third
The two
highest
games.
rusher.
Third highest rusher. It goes Madison's 461, Akers 138, Dobbs is 110.
Man, they are not running the ball in
Kirk Cousins
Minneapolis.
is like fourth at 25 yards. This is crazy.
um,
um, but on the receiving side, I do like Addison and Hawkinson to get their over on receptions and yards. I do like that. And Justin Jefferson, he's just on IR. He's with. I was just looking. I was
yeah,
just looking when he was even going to be coming back. And I agree with you. I think in terms of the game line, I am. Oh my God, Vikings are underdogs. Why? Where am I? Oh, Vikings on the money line. Take it.
yeah.
I
Throw
don't
those points away. Take the money line.
throw
Get
the
you some.
points. Yeah, take the money line. They're not losing this game. They're not losing this game. The Broncos are a good football team now, but I'm taking the Vikings all day. Cash it right here.
Dobbs effect.
Vikings Jets. Double dog parlay right there. Lock it in. Um all right. Well, we are running out of time. Any other before we leave, before we wrap it up, anything else you want to share? Any
Man,
other games you're looking forward to?
it's not this week, but we're getting close to the game.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see this fallout with what's going on with that team up north and their ball coach and their little scouting scandal. But I almost want them to let Harbaugh back on the sidelines for the game because I don't think he's got a chance in hell without knowing what play the other team's calling against the Buckeyes and Ryan Day. I am excited. I think we are going to blow them out and it's going to be fun. It's going to be sweet. I can't wait to hear the Michigan fans crying about, oh, well, we didn't have our coach. No, you didn't have our play calls. That's the difference.
Well, Tom Brady has bet his Super Bowl ring against CJ Stroud on this game. So this is going to
And
be a
CJ
big game.
Stroud's going to get a Super Bowl ring before the end of his rookie year.
There it is, right? All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. We love the support. We appreciate everything. Remember, for more of our picks and more content from over 50 creators, head on over to SoBet. Download the app today. Enter code RSR. Thank you, everyone. Robbie, thanks as always. And everyone else, keep the change, baby.